Happy early morning, YouTube, if there is such a thing. I am back and I've got some more stuff done. There's a bit of a theme to this one, actually. The first thing that me and James managed to get accomplished was I guess, kind of finished playing this game, the Simpsons game for PS2, which was also released on other systems like PS3 and I'm sure Xbox and stuff. But the premise of the game is really cool. The Simpsons find themselves within a video game, and they all have these special abilities. And what they're trying to do is reach the creators of the game and defeat them, because they find out that all games over time, their predecessors all get thrown to the garbage and cast aside for newer games and stuff like that. So they don't want that to happen to them within the game they find themselves now. So they go on this epic adventure, and it's really cool because there's lots of references to past real video games, not outright, but the theme is very similar. Like there's Legend of Zelda, Grand Theft Auto, the Mario Brothers and stuff like that, and it's a really cool idea. Now the downside is that the camera function and the camera angles on this game suck terribly. And when it comes to video games, like, I'm old school. I grew up in the golden age of the NES. I was a kid when that first came out, so I've seen it all. I was the perfect age for the video game revolution. And there's two things that make a game good: fun factor and gameplay. Graphics don't mean shit. That's everybody's all excited about these days. The kids, oh, you see the graphics on that Call of Duty game? Oh my god, it looks real. And meanwhile, you play a game and it's all movie and 10% game, and it's boring. Like, it may look good, but it's a piece of junk. Like, this game had the fun factor, for sure. Gameplay sucked because the camera was just terrible. Stuff like that can just ruin a game. It can make a game that could be an 8, 9, 10 and put it down at a 4. And that's what happened on this. You could manipulate the camera angle, but it would never stay where you wanted it to. So a lot of times you were blindly jumping into whatever, it was just really frustrating. And then the other thing that made this game not great was that we got right near the end and tried to enter, I think it was probably maybe the third or fourth last level. We were right near the end of the game, and it glitched and took us back to the Simpson household and auto-saved in the process, and it was like we couldn't go anywhere after that. We couldn't get back to the theater or wherever it is that you pick the last number of levels from. So basically our game ended early and we never really got to finish it. So it definitely had its technical issues, which in my mind brought it way down in score. I would give it a 3 or a 4, whereas, like I said, this game could have easily been a 9, maybe a 10, but I don't know if it was just a one-time glitch on our system or if the game has some common glitches like that over other copies and stuff like that. But I would definitely recommend giving it a try, because it is fun, but just be warned that the camera can suck and there could be other glitches. So I would not pay much money for it if you do decide to play it. But the next thing is also The Simpsons, and we just finished watching the complete 7th season on DVD. I can't believe the show is still going. It's unbelievable. Like, in its 30th year or whatever. And, some people say that, there was the golden age of Simpsons in the first number of seasons, and then it declined in the later years and stuff like that. But, you can't, it's like anything, like, it's like a pro sports team. You can't be good every year, things can't be the same every year. No, in my mind, this has been one of the most consistent franchises out there, and there's nothing on TV that you may want to watch more, or I may want to watch more than, if I was sitting there, turned on the TV, and a bunch of stuff came on, and The Simpsons was one of the choices, that would probably be right near the top of the heap. Like, it's one of those top shows of all time, no matter the season, no matter the episode. It's always worth watching. It's always funny. It's always entertaining. And this 7th season was no less. There was a lot of classic episodes in it. The season opened up with the end part of the Who Shot Mr. Burns storyline, so you got to see who was the culprit behind that crime. And then, of course, there's the annual Treehouse of Horror episode. There's another return of Silent Bob, or Silent Bob, Sideshow Bob. I'm thinking Kevin Smith. Anyways, yeah, what else was there? There was a couple of other good ones. Bart auditioning for Radioactive Man in the Radioactive Man, or Fallout Boy in the Radioactive Man movie. Homer and his bowling team. Grandpa Simpson talking about the hellfish from the war. Two of my favorite episodes of all time, though, came right near the end of the season, and it was the Hullabalooza episode where Homer tries to connect with Bart and Lisa about music, and so he gets them tickets to Hullabalooza, and the Smashing Pumpkins and stuff are there. And while he's there, he gets shot with a cannon in his stomach, and it doesn't affect him, so he gets like taken into the circus sideshow and goes on tour with Hullabalooza. And then, but one of my favorite ones, and it's a Lisa episode, which are usually my least favorite episodes, because I always find her character, she's a great character, but her episodes are kind of always more kind of, I don't know, nice and wholesome, whereas I like the debauchery of Homer and Bart. But it's when they go to stay at the Flanders Beach house, and she finds these new friends, and Bart tries to steal the friends from her, gets angry and stuff like that, and then all sorts of comic mishaps and mayhem occur, and that's the like one of my favorite Simpsons moments ever, and me and James both cracked up at it, is when Bart and Milhouse and Homer and Marge are playing a board game on the deck, and it's like it's like something about like going on a date for homecoming or something like that, and you kind of open the store, and there's this character that you're going on a date with, and somebody got this kind of dorky looking guy, and he looks just like Milhouse. So and Homer goes, "Oh, he looks just like you, Poindexter. He got the dud." Oh my God, it was so funny. But there's tons of moments like that throughout the whole season. But that's like one of my hands down favorite Simpsons moments ever, and I see why like James cracked up just as much as I do, you know. So it was pretty funny. And that was the last thing. Oh yeah, for James's birthday earlier this week, we went to the movies during the weeknight and saw the new Goosebumps movie, Goosebumps 2: Haunted Halloween. For Goosebumps, I never read the books as a child because I was kind of older. It was kind of not in my kind of age bracket when they were out. But I always did enjoy watching the TV show on YTV, so I was familiar with that. I was familiar with the books, like being out and stuff, but I never read any of them. But I did watch the TV show when I was younger, and so then when the movie came out a couple years ago, or whatever it was, the first of the new ones, me and James were right on board with that. We wanted to go watch that and loved it. So when the second movie, I had no idea it was even being made until like a month ago. I saw a trailer for it, and I was like, oh, that's nice. And so yeah, we definitely wanted to see it, so we went, and I was a little bit worried, I guess, because it was an entirely new cast. There was nobody back from the first movie other than Jack Black, but he had very limited scenes reprising his R.L. Stine role. It was all new cast, and the story was that in this small town of Wardenclyffe, New York, there's this household of three, the Quinns. Mom Kathy is a single mom, and she's trying to keep the family afloat by working constant double shifts at the nursing home where she's employed. And then at home, her older daughter Sarah is kind of having to pick up the slack around the house for her mom, who's always working. At the same time, trying to write a fantastic entrance essay to get into Columbia University, which she's stressing over. And then the son, Sonny, who's younger, has a big science project coming due, and he's trying to duplicate the work of Nikola Tesla on electricity, kind of on a lower level. And Nikola Tesla was actually completed his experiments in their town of Wardenclyffe years and years and years ago. And so he's stressed out about that and needs help and whatever. So it's a crazy time, and it's approaching Halloween. But things get even crazier soon because Sonny's little buddy Sam has kind of made this business for him and Sonny to embark on, and it's called the Junk Bros or something like that. So they basically remove junk from somebody's house for free, and they try and turn the junk around either into a profit, or if they find treasures they want to keep for themselves, they keep them. So they get their first customer, and they end up at this dilapidated old house that looks like nobody's lived there in years, and nobody's there to greet them. So they just go about their business, remove all the junk, and in the process, discover this secret room that has a locked chest in it, or a chest with a locked book in it. And so they open it up, and they find that it is an unfinished Goosebumps manuscript. And not long after opening the book, Slappy, the ventriloquist dummy, magically appears out of thin air in the room with them, which they're both kind of freaked out about, but they both find kind of cool at the same time. So then Sonny finds a little card in Slappy's pocket and takes it out and reads the inscription on the back. And then later that day, that evening at home, Slappy comes alive. And Sonny and Sam can't believe it. And especially after Slappy shows them some magic tricks, and they think it's the coolest thing ever. He seems like a good little chap. He just wants to be part of the family, so they just keep him around. Don't tell anybody about it, and they think all is well. And unfortunately, though, Slappy overhears Sarah discussing with the boys her cheating boyfriend's evil ways. And so the next day, Slappy stows away in a backpack, goes to school, and physically harms this fellow. So Sarah's brought in on the Slappy situation, and they all agree that he has to be dealt with. So they put him in a suitcase, wrap it in chains, dump it in the river, and it does not work. Slappy will not be held down. And so he returns, and with the betrayal of the Quins, he gets angry, and he decides to go about finishing the story he came from in this unfinished Goosebumps manuscript, and he attempts to bring Halloween to life. So he gets all these magical creatures to spring forth from the pages of this book. So we see a lot of the guys from the first movie, the Wolf Man, the big giant ape, and then a whole bunch of like witches and ghouls and zombies and mummies and all sorts of stuff. So then it's up to these three kids to try and reverse what they have unwittingly set upon Wardenclyffe and eventually probably the world. They try to enlist R.L. Stine's help, but can't track down the elusive authors, so they have to go about doing it themselves. And what chance do three young kids have against all the monsters fiction can offer? Well, go watch and you'll find out. Great movie. Loved it. Loved it every bit as much as the first one. Missed the fact that Jack Black wasn't in it that much because I love Jack Black. I love all of his movies. I love Tenacious D. I just think he's bloody hilarious. And but still, it was nice that he was even in it at all because with how different they went in a direction with the cast and stuff, there could have been no Jack Black, so that was nice. But yeah, definitely recommend. And that's all for now. But we will see you soon.